What's up, Marvel fans? We're the Hills Maniacs, and today we're going to answer the question in the title of this video: how do Moon Knight's powers work? Okay, so if you watched episode 2 of Moon Knight, there will be some spoilers for that in this episode as well. So if you haven't seen it yet, go check that out first and then come back here. The title of that episode was Summon the Suit, and as we find out in this episode, basically when Mark Spector becomes Moon Knight, he summons the suit over top of him. And throughout the episode, Stephen Grant was in control of the body, and he kept being told to like summon the suit and all that stuff, and he couldn't do it himself because only Mark Spector knows how to do it because of the Moon Knight personality and all that stuff. And then eventually at some point when Steven was involved in this fight later on, he summons a suit to protect himself, but it's like a suit and tie with a Moon Knight mask on and stuff, and it was just weird looking. You just hear Mark say to him in his head, "Steven, what are we wearing right now?" It was a fancy suit, and it kind of still just formed over him, so it got us kind of wondering, like, how exactly do his powers work? Like, why does the suit get summoned on there? Can it only be summoned in certain situations and things like that? So what do you think, just from seeing this, like, how do you think this works?
I mean, to me, it's because, you know, he was explaining that it's that suit that he wears is like the ancient burial garments of Khonshu or whatever. You know, that's why it matches pretty similarly to Khonshu. And it's basically showing that Khonshu is taking over with Mark. You know, and
they
that
once, like, bond,
once Mark is in control and he brings that suit, he gets the powers of Khonshu in a way. I think is what it's saying, and that's probably why he can really only do it at night. Because he is the moon deity, so that's probably why. Like, I'm not saying Mark can't come out during the day, he just can't summon the suit during the day.
And I think that makes an interesting dynamic to this as well. It's like, because now somebody could go after Mark in the daytime,
right?
I mean, we find out, you know, he is like an assassin or a mercenary or whatever. We found that out in this episode as well. So he can still fight, but like I don't think he has the Moon Knight powers in the daytime, like you said, which kind of is interesting to me and kind of poses maybe a problem for Mark. Maybe that's why he has the personality of Stephen Grant, so he can get around in the daytime and things like that.
Unnoticed.
And maybe that's also why he doesn't wear the suit in the daytime. Like when Mark, every time in the first episode, for example, like when Stephen Grant would wake up in all these weird situations, it's because Mark was doing something, but he wasn't wearing the Moon Knight suit because he was out in the daytime. And maybe he didn't realize he can't summon it in the daytime or whatever either. I don't know if Mark even knows how his powers really work yet. So that would be kind of interesting as well to find out. Like, does Mark know how this works?
Yeah, and I mean, we found out from Layla, who ends up, it's Mark's wife, that, you know, she was worried that what if they find him while he's not wearing the suit and they go after him, would he be killed?
Right.
And she tells him that, you know, and she thinks that Stephen Grant is just his disguise now, like he's just playing a role so that they couldn't find him. And it possibly could have been at one point been like a name, a code name that he used or something,
or one of his other identities that he used as a spy or mercenary.
But the fact that she was worried that, like, she knew about the suit because she'd obviously seen it, and she says that they've been on adventures before, so it brings up that point: is she also an assassin? Like, what, you know, is that how they met? Or were they doing other stuff? And she mentions that they were looking for the scarab before and all kinds of other stuff. So, like, the fact that she was worried about him not having the suit on shows that, like, she knows that Mark is capable of fighting, but she also kind of figured that Khonshu wouldn't be with him during the day, and I think that's why she was more concerned about that, because she knew he wouldn't have the suit
and
at that point.
She doesn't realize that he has split personalities, which is why I kind of think, like we said, it was when Khonshu, like, took over his mind, eventually his other identities that he used as a spy and as a mercenary manifested into these alternate personalities, and that's why Stephen Grant exists and maybe we don't know how many other personalities or alter egos he might have that might start coming up at some point. But I just think it's interesting that, like, his powers, I mean, we don't really know what else he can do. Is he just a fighter with his powers, and he just he's basically like Batman, you know, or does he have
I think
it
kind of combines both personalities of Mark Spector and Khonshu, because we know Mark could already fight if he's an assassin, so he already knows how to, you know, kill or fight or whatever, while he also has the powers of Khonshu. And I think he gets powers from the moon, and that's why he's stronger at night. And so that's why everybody's worried about him bringing out the suit. Even Arthur Harrow said it when he captured Stephen Grant. He said, no need to bring your suit out. You know, I think he was worried about it because he knew that once he brings out this suit, there is no stopping him. You know, because he gets power from the moon, if that's how it works. Exactly. I mean, he is the moon deity, so that would make sense that, you know.
And we've only ever seen his Moon Knight, you know, at night. Because in the last episode, when he was in the museum and stuff like that, was all at night when it happened. And Stephen Grant gave control to Mark, and then Mark became, you know, put on the suit and everything. I think it's kind of interesting that it is basically magical. Like, it just forms over him. He's not just putting on a suit like we see some of the other superheroes do, like Spider-Man, etc. It forms on him at night, essentially. Or maybe that's even, like you said, with the combination of Khonshu and Mark. Like, Khonshu gives him this suit to use it, and I'm really curious, like, what other powers he might have that we'll see eventually. Like, we see he has the, like, moon-shaped, like, I don't know if it's like a boomerang thing.
It looks like it looks like some kind of knife.
It's basically
or
a batarang
that
if you think about it, but he uses it to fight these demons and stuff. And that's another thing too. I think Mark only needs this suit when he's facing these demon things, like the demon dogs that we've seen so far, because jackals, yes. So it's not like he needs to have that suit when he's facing people in the daytime or whatever, but I think it's more dangerous if he doesn't use the suit, because people will know. Because right now, like we found out in this episode, they know Mark Spector is a, like, wanted fugitive across the whole world and stuff. So he's been killing people for a while now as this assassin. So I think to hide his face, or to not be hiding his face and stuff, just makes him dangerous in his own right. But then when he becomes Moon Knight, I think that's even more of a threat. Like you said, they're afraid of him when he puts the suit on. Right,
because they know that he gets that power of Khonshu. And you look at Arthur Harrow, who clearly is probably the new avatar for Amit.
Right.
And, you know, he has some of her powers to where he can summon these jackals from wherever, you know, and so he's probably stronger in certain things too, you know, whether it be in the daytime or in a certain location or whatever. You know, there's some kind of connection. Everything, and, you know, each ancient god had their own thing that they controlled, so it would make sense that you're stronger at night if you're the
moon knight.
Moon deity.
One of them is stronger with water or something, if there's like a water god or something.
The moon deity, the sun god, the whatever, you know, is going to be stronger at that specific time.
Right.
And I like, too, that it gives Mark this ability to kind of see this magic happen, because we know Layla and everybody else can't see these jackals, but Steven and Mark can see it. So there's something in his head that, because of the spirit of Khonshu, he can see these ancient Egyptian creatures that no longer exist, or that may have never existed and were just summoned from beyond, you know.
Right.
And he's the only one that can see it. I mean, obviously Arthur Harrow can see it.
And I like that makes him seem even more crazy, because like when Steven watches the footage from the previous night at that museum,
there's nothing there.
Night at the museum. Yeah, it's just him running from nothing, and it looks like he's destroying stuff or whatever. But it's even when he became Stephen Grant and walked away at the end, you still see him on camera, but there's nothing there. So I think that kind of adds a little bit of an interesting twist to things, too. Yeah. It's like only he can see the demons that he's fighting.
Now, I think that in the end, this is going to end up kind of like Hulk and Banner, where Steven and Mark work together. You know, like Mark says, I'll let Steven be in charge at the end, and Steven, when needed, Mark takes over. You know, and I think that's how it's gonna end up being, or even combining them together somehow and having just one personality. You know?
Or maybe it's like Steven learns how to do the same things Mark does, like summon the suit and stuff, but he's just not an assassin. But like he can do it. Maybe he can do it in the daytime or something. Or he summons the suit that he created in this with the suit and tie and the mask and everything. Like maybe that's his version of this, because he was still Stephen Grant when he summoned it, because he was falling and about to land on the ground, and then he just like had this suit all of a sudden. So I think that's kind of interesting as well. So maybe that'll be like.
So there is some aspect of him being able to control this power, he not
doesn't
fully
know how to do it yet. So I think him and Mark, it'll be like this thing where like a hero first gets his powers, and this other person that knows how to use them or whatever is training him to use it. Yeah. Think of like Ant-Man, for example, where they were teaching Scott Lang how to use the suit.
Or like Ra's al Ghul and Batman.
Yeah. So like, if it'd be interesting to see it, because it's all in his head anyway. So like Steven and Mark communicating, Mark teaching him how to do these things, or at least how to fight or something, in case he ever turns into Steven again. Because right now it just seems like Mark is kind of taking over the body for the long haul. But I do think like that, like you said, that's something that they could do as well. Like combine the two of them together or whatever, or maybe that's how he gets rid of Khonshu but keeps the powers somehow or whatever. I don't really know exactly how that's going to work, but I'm looking forward to it. I think this is a really interesting character for them to explore in this series, and just I'm curious how it works, like when he eventually will join the Avengers or something later on,
or even the what are they called, the Midnight Suns or whatever.
Yeah, or just any group that he joins, because it's like he can't really activate his powers until nighttime, so it's like, how does that help?
So it's like he's just standing there. They're in the middle of a battle in the middle of the day, and he's just,
hello, I'm Stephen Grant. Yeah, with his British accent. I think that would be kind of fun to explore as well, and maybe eventually have Steven learn how the powers work. We still don't really know how it works. All we know is he can summon a suit. So I'd be curious to see like what else he can he summon things just like Harrow, you know, can summon those jackals and things. I think it'd be interesting to see what else they can do with these powers as well.
Yep. And we got 4 more episodes to find out.
Hopefully. So there you go, guys. Those are our thoughts on how exactly Moon Knight's powers work. Let us know down in the comments section what you think. Also, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more. And we'd just like to give a quick shout out to everyone who has subscribed to our channel so far. We've gotten over 100 subscribers. So please subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And hit that notification bell as well to be updated on everything that we've got going on this channel.
Yep, we seriously do appreciate every single one of you. Even though it's not that many yet, we're still... Those that are here, we appreciate it, and we know you guys are enjoying what we're doing. So
we're a small channel, but we're trying to make it big at some point. We talk about Marvel and Star Wars and all those kind of things on this channel. So if you're a fan of any of those things, or if you know somebody who's a fan, push them toward our channel.
So anyways, guys, thanks for watching the video, everybody. Leave the scumbaggery at home, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Laters, gators.
Subscribe.